Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Leading from Alignment with our good friend, coach, and mentor, John Opalewski, a mentor teaching us today what to do with our tormentors and our mentors and how to know the difference between the two. How are you today, John?
Hey Jim, I'm good. It's good
Good.
to be with you. Always like hanging out. Um, this is just fun for me to spend time with you talking
Yeah.
about stuff. And today, yeah, we're going to talk about the difference between offense or accountability. We're kind of
Yeah.
playing off or piggybacking off of episode 341.
Yeah.
And so just a quick recap of 341, which was entitled Pastoring Through Offense. We talked about distinguishing between genuine harm
Yeah.
and perceived harm.
Yes.
Um,
Good.
we took time to unpack why our culture seems to be more offendable than ever.
Yeah.
And we talked about things like a low tolerance for discomfort, online spaces that reward outrage.
Yeah.
Uh, we defined a spirit of offense as a posture of defensiveness and assuming the worst intent of others and holding
Yeah.
on to and nursing hurt. And
Yeah.
then we spent the last part of 341 talking about how to pastor people through offense and what to do if the offense is actually pointing to real issues.
Right.
Uh, and so I thought it would be good today to continue that line of thought and explore the difference between real offense and a poor reaction to accountability, because we get a lot of traffic on that particular subject.
Yeah.
Pastors who call in and say, "Hey, I hold my stuff accountable," and they're taking it like I'm being offensive, and and so we work through things with pastors on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes lead pastors don't do a good job of being clear about what they expect their team to do.
Yes.
Sometimes those calls are not what they're expecting, but other times, it's there is this deep sense of concern from lead pastors that, hey, my staff, when we set a deadline, when we hold accountable, when we evaluate quality, that some of them feel that they're being offended, that we're hurting them, and it
Right.
may hurt a little bit, but so I thought it would be good to talk about it today. Um, accountability may feel offensive, but it's not the same as being wronged.
Right.
And we said last week, our culture seems to be trending toward treating any uncomfortable feedback as an offense.
Yeah.
Please, 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 if you believe that, you need to get a new belief. Because just because it stings doesn't necessarily mean it's harmful.
Yeah.
Discomfort and harm are not the same thing. Now, I want to stop there.
Yeah.
And Jim, I'd love for you to just,
Well, we're,
your
we're of a
thoughts.
certain generation. Our predecessors went to war.
Yeah,
They were in the trades. They worked in factories. When you were the new guy, you weren't critiqued. You were brutalized verbally, and that was part of being the new guy. So, this is not the old guys complaining about the young guys, not at all. I think that was wrong. By the way, I think that was an
yes,
abusive
I do
way
too.
to get performance for wrong reasons out of people. However, it did give you a certain toughness that if somebody said, "Hey, and by the way, there's you got something in your teeth," it didn't ruin your day because that may have been the nicest thing anybody said to you all day on the construction job site or in law enforcement or in the military, which is my background. No one says please or thank you or good job. It wasn't even considered. So, but that doesn't make it right. So to come back and say, well, hey, you said something mean to me. Well, again, I think as kindly as we can bring correction, the better, right? But
Mm.
it doesn't mean that disagreement is some sort of disparagement or it just, I think you can do a better job, can be met with, well, man, he's just really critical. And he didn't say, I didn't win a ribbon today. And again, it sounds like I'm the old guy. My son reminds me that if my generation, his generation speaking as him, he said, my generation gets upset because you don't win ribbons all the time. Remember, it was your generation that gave us ribbons because you were counteracting what your dads did by making us never feel the way you felt growing up.
Yeah,
around authority. So yeah, I think establishing the ground rules of healthy accountability, healthy critique is vital because we'll never get
right.
better unless iron sharpens iron. And if iron sharpens iron, that means sparks are flying. That's all it means. Stuff is being cut away that's dull. And it's
Yeah,
painful and no discipline seems pleasant at the moment. However, it yields a
that's
good
right.
crop later on. So those
Right.
are my thoughts.
And,
I think it's good to know.
and we could go through and talk about God's discipline. I mean, God's
Yeah.
discipline is proof of his love for us.
Yes.
The Bible teaches us this in
Yes.
multiple locations.
Yeah.
So offense in the unhealthy sense is this, you hurt me, therefore you're wrong.
Yes.
Um, it centers on my feelings as the final authority.
Yeah. Wow, that's dangerous.
Um, and we said this last week, but it bears repeating. It often assumes bad intent.
Yeah. Right.
Accountability, on the other hand, recognizes that something needs to change.
Hmm.
Sometimes it helps leaders to think about it this way. If they are dealing with someone who is needs some correction, or somebody who uh, missed a deadline or did poor work, um, I think about it sometimes as a father-son deal, although it's not that, Jim. Like, if this was my kid, what would I do?
Yeah. Right.
Would I let my
Right.
kid get away with this? And if
Right.
you're a
That's
good
good.
father,
Yeah, that's good.
you'd say, no, I wouldn't
Right.
let my kid get away with this. But
Yeah.
why would I let somebody who I work with get away with it?
That's good, John. That's a great perspective because there's nothing closer than the parental relationship. If I harm you, it's only for your good. I would never harm you just to harm you. Or if I did
That's right.
harm you, I would feel terrible about harming you. But
Yes.
I'm going to confront this because it's not good for you, not because it's not good for me.
Yeah. And so accountability recognizes, hey, something needs to change in the equation here. It
Yeah.
centers on truth, on
Yeah.
development, and on responsibility.
Yeah.
Accountability calls you to a higher standard.
Yeah.
See, I think we all notice in our kids this potential that they have.
Yeah.
And when we see them rise to that potential, I don't know, it doesn't get much better as a parent, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we see them flailing and settling, maybe settling is a better word,
Yeah.
settling for way less than what they're capable of,
Yeah.
it's painful
Yes.
as a parent. And so accountability is not the boogeyman. Accountability isn't a curse word. It
Hmm.
calls you higher. But it can feel like offense. This
Right.
is, and this is and I think people confuse the two because, ego gets involved sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Correction can feel like rejection.
Yeah.
Um, there are these things called shame triggers. Being wrong about something feels like being bad.
Okay.
And
Right.
and those two don't necessarily go together, right?
No.
Um, we talked about past wounds. Some people were corrected harshly before. They came out of a toxic work environment or a
Yeah.
toxic home environment. And any sniff of that sends them into protective mode. And I understand that. That's
Yeah.
real. That's something that we're going to have to help people work their way through. And then I think sometimes people just don't have good emotional language, Jim. Everything uncomfortable it gets labeled offensive.
Yeah.
Anything that smacks of discomfort or tension is, I'm being triggered.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think we have good emotional language. And I think so. Sometimes I think this resistance, this sometimes what we call offense is actually our resistance to being stretched.
Yeah. That's good.
I want to stop there and hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I've been playing with the idea of being a fraud. That thought that
Mm,
there's a certain public persona I want people to see on social media or a neighbor looking at my lawn, or driving down the street, my car versus your car, all that kind of trying to find that identity. And when someone says, hey, I'm going to pull a piece of your identity out and expose it for its weaknesses, that it's not just that. If you care about me, it's funny, someone who cares about me can say almost anything to me and it doesn't hurt. Someone who doesn't care about me can say almost anything to me and it does hurt,
That's right.
because yeah, and it's odd, but a father can say to a son, if the son knows he's loved, just about anything. It isn't, but a drill sergeant screaming those same words to you, it's different. It's the same truth, it's the same reality, it's the same observation, but coming from someone who I know wants the best for me, it feels different. I tell people,
Yes.
you can say the meanest thing in the world, just say it with a smile on your face, with love in your heart, and people will receive it. But if you say, this thing tastes terrible, well, I just offended whoever cooked it. If I say, you know what, um, this thing, you know, and there's grace in that. And let me tell you how to season this. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we have to be very careful to be loving, and to know that even though the person giving us the critique is not loving, we are loved. And all of a sudden, I'm safe. I don't. You didn't give
Right.
me my identity, so you can't take it away. And
Yeah.
if I'm going to give you identity, it's by pointing you to the one who gave me identity. Not that you're a good baseball player, or you're a good singer, you're a good coach. I think those will all come and go, but you're dearly loved by your heavenly Father, and so
Yeah.
you're working with a net. You fall off the tightrope, you fall into His arms. That's
That's right. That's
you know,
good.
yeah,
And so let's talk a little bit about accountability as a form of care. I
yeah,
don't think I've
sure.
ever heard an article on this before or read
Mhm.
anything on this.
Mhm.
But leaders who don't care about you won't bother to correct you.
Yes, yeah, that's so good, John. Uh, I'm
They just
thinking
won't bother.
of specific circumstances now. You say that, like, okay, I need to. I've been putting off some of these, so it's funny we're talking about this. I just last couple of days, like, but he hasn't really made a mess yet. I know he will without correction, but if I just keep him out of leadership, he won't make that mess. It's like, what did I just say?
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I care about you
So
enough to say, don't do this. Yeah,
so accountability is a form of care.
yeah,
Um, Growth always involves some level of discomfort. No
yes,
exception. No exceptions.
yeah,
I don't like that equation, but it's the way the world works.
yeah,
Honest feedback from your boss is one of the most loving things he or she can do for you, even if that feedback is wrapped in a less than beautiful package.
yeah,
I'm of this mind, a boss who ignores poor performance or poor attitudinal issues is doing you no favors. He or she is complicit in
yeah.
stunning
That's good.
your growth.
That is good.
If
Hmm.
you're a good leader, you owe this to your team. Now, you owe it to them grace and truth,
Right.
truth and love, that
Yeah.
blend, that pastoral flair. We've talked about pastoral flair before.
Yeah.
Um, but accountability is actually proof that I care about the individuals on my team. I care about the people I pastor. And if you're on the receiving end of
Mm.
accountability, I want you to think about it from this perspective. If they didn't care about me, this conversation wouldn't even be happening right
Right.
now.
Right. 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 Yeah. And because I care about you, that's
That's right.
that's a beautiful motivation. Yeah.
And so when you receive, if you're on the receiving end of some honest but tough feedback that doesn't feel very good, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Is there truth here? Even if I don't like how it was said, is
Yeah.
there truth here? Am I
Yeah.
reacting? Here's another question. Am I reacting to the message or to the tone? I told you that I'm tone
Yeah.
sensitive, right?
Yeah.
Um, or the tone in which it was delivered. And that's a struggle for me is separating tone from truth.
Right.
And I need help with that.
Yeah.
Uh, and then what part of this feedback is mine to own?
Hmm.
And so I think these are ways that we develop, Jim, There's IQ and there's EQ.
Right.
EQ means we're talking about EQ stuff right here,
Right.
emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
emotional quotient. Um, and so if you're on the receiving end, please try to look at this as care as opposed to whatever other term you would use it, as something that you should feel offended, be offended, stay offended about.
Yeah.
I want to stop. I want to hear your thoughts, and then I've
Yeah.
got a
I
few more things and we'll
I was
wrap up.
thinking one of Malcolm Gladwell's books, he talked about there was a season, I think in the 80s, where you were 7 times more likely to die in a plane crash if the pilot was South Korean than an American. So they did a study. Do South Koreans not know how to fly? But it was the culture, the honor shame culture South Korea, that the pilot was unapproachable. You could not think about it going both ways. So not only are we going to be correcting our teams, but our teams get to correct us as well. And they have
Yeah.
black box recordings of of a crew that's asking questions of the pilot that because they realize they're flying into a mountain in a rainstorm. But
Mm.
there is such a culture built around not correcting him that they didn't. They and all the passengers with them flew into a mountain in a rainstorm and killed everybody on board. So I think that I say that to say this. I think it's really important that if we're going to have this culture, it goes both ways. It's not just
It
I get
does.
to
It's so good,
critique
Jim.
my team, but my team gets to critique me. And I think if that's the environment, now everybody's safe. It really is we're knights, but we're sitting at a round table. There's no
Yeah.
head of the table anymore. And that healthy culture of, hey, I think Pastor, I love you, but you talked way too long. Your altar call was 14 minutes long. And so the service went over and the kids ministries, the parents were waiting and that we didn't have that 14 minutes built into our program. So we had nothing to do with the kids for 10 of those 14 minutes. If you're going to talk longer, that's fine, but don't that wasn't necessary. But I go, well,
Yeah.
that's how dare you, assail the man of God in the pulpit. And
Yeah.
I feel led of the Spirit. Like, thank you for that. That makes me a better pastor. And what I do should complement what you're doing and vice
Yeah.
versa. So
And, and 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 Jim, you're modeling for your team how
yeah,
to actually respond to
yes,
constructive criticism.
that's
See,
true too. Yeah.
Pastor, this is more caught than taught.
Yeah, I agree. It's cultural. Yeah.
If you respond well to constructive criticism, if you do what we're encouraging people who are on the receiving end of it from you to behave a certain way, then receive it a certain way. But if you do that, your team's going to pick up on that. Not just
Yeah.
your team, the lay people in the congregation will pick up on it
Yes.
uh, too.
Yeah. It's a
And
good thing.
so I think we should take the last couple of minutes here and talk about leaders who have to deliver a tough message
Good.
to
Yeah.
their
Good.
teams from time to time. How do you get better at holding your team accountable? I've got like 4 or 5 things here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just machine gun style. Be clear and not vague. I'm repeating myself there, but
Yeah. Right.
because confusion breeds defensiveness.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When people are confused, sometimes they're afraid to ask for clarity.
Yeah.
It creates this, it's the seeds of a defensiveness
Yeah.
in your team. Here's the second one, separate behavior from the person. You should have heard
Hmm.
that a million times already at this point in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Attack the problem, not the individual.
Yeah.
Check your tone, your facial expression, your timing. And you say, yeah, I can hear some pastors saying that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. Um, Stay connected after the correction.
That's important.
Don't drop a bomb and then disappear.
Yeah.
See, accountability without relationship will feel like an attack.
Yeah. It kind of
Accountability,
is. Yeah.
accountability with relationship tends to be better received and results more often in growth.
Right.
Jim, any thoughts on that? And then I got one final thing.
Yeah, I really like that last one, John. I think that's missing. We think, okay, the confrontation's over with. What's next? But
Yeah,
I think to really reaffirm this is not it's not an attack on you. This is to make us better. Then the
right.
next day, how are us doing? How are we doing?
There
How are
you
you
go.
doing?
That's so good.
Because I think one of the lies that fits into a narrative of I'm being hurt is they don't care about me. They only care
Mm,
about what I do around here. So they corrected me. He only talks to me. She only talks to me if there's a problem. So when they say,
mm,
hey, let's take a walk together, I always know that I'm about to get a beating versus they actually want me to be a better person. But
yeah,
I think caring about, again, we say this all the time. No one can name five sermons that changed their life. Very few people can, but everybody can name five people. So this is something that gets you on the five people that changed my life list. They held me accountable. They saw something in me. They
yeah,
kept squeezing until it came out of me because they cared about me, not because they owned me 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And
that's right.
so this relationship has to be the why behind the what because I see potential in
Mm,
you, because you could do this so much better, because I believe in you. Let me
yeah,
name three things I want you to work on. And if that's the culture and that can be reciprocal, what a beautiful culture to have. I mean, you guys
yeah,
are on your way somewhere, really. Um, so this isn't just a reactive, let's not do something negative. This is a very proactive, let's make everybody into what God means when he created them. And
that's right.
it's a really good thing.
So let me give you one final thought, and then and then a programming note, and then you can
Okay.
just wrap this up, Jim. So offense
Yeah.
says, "Don't make me uncomfortable."
Yeah.
Accountability says, "Don't let me stay the same."
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
We need we need leaders who know how to hold their team accountable, hold themselves accountable,
Yeah.
and to do it with grace, do it with kindness,
Yeah.
wrapped in huge amounts of love. And I think if we learn how to do that, we learn how to receive it, we learn how to give it, I think our church will be healthier.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think our team will be healthier. I think we'll be healthier as individuals. Everybody seems to win in those types of environments.
Yeah.
So, uh, quick programming note for our listeners
Yeah.
and watchers. Going to give our podcast team the week off in celebration of July 4th,
Yay.
which is going to be next week when you hear this. July 4th will be the following week. So there will be no podcast on July 7th, but the pods will resume on July 14th. So just
Good.
wanted to let you know that in advance so that you weren't wondering where's the podcast
Yeah.
the Tuesday after the 4th of July. So, Jim, close us
Yeah.
off.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to eating hot dogs, listening to fireworks. Hope you guys are too. Spoiling the grandkids, go swimming in the pool, go fishing in the lake. And I hope you guys will take some time and maybe,
Mm.
we're 342 into this. If maybe it's a good chance for you to go back as you would normally listen to this. Find one that are hundreds back there that speaks to you in your circumstances today. And we look forward to our next time together as you continue to lead from alignment.